All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we are gonna get started doing all the mods that we need to do on this Mini to get it ready for its first autocross day. And we're gonna start that with the brakes. So we've got everything we're gonna need over here to change out the pads and rotors. We're gonna start by getting it jacked up. We're gonna check out the jack point on this bad boy is right there. So there's one front and rear, but you wanna make sure you're hitting this pad right here as you're jacking it. So they sell attachments that fit up in there that make it a good fit. But then you also wanna make sure as you're doing this, since this is a front wheel drive car, that we're gonna chock the back wheel, make sure it's not gonna roll away on us. So we're gonna get started. We'll get it jacked up. Once we get it jacked up and the wheels off, we'll run through taking the brakes off and switching out these rotors. Should be a quick job, and then we can get on to the next task. So you're gonna wanna remember to bust the wheels loose before you get this thing jacked up. Always makes things a little bit easier. Once you've got them all broken loose, then you're gonna find that jack point. Go ahead and jack the car up. The Mini's stiff enough that luckily lifting it from just this front point here lifts this whole side of the car. So once you get it up to height, you're going to put a jack stand under the back end just to make sure everything's safe. Take a little bit of tension off, set it back down on that jack stand, and then put tension back on that jack. Then we're going to take these wheels off, get those out of the way so we can start getting after these brakes. Start by carefully getting this sensor out of the way, and then we're going to bust the caliper bolts loose. You're going to want to break these loose by hand. And then you're going to need to use a wrench to hold the lock nut in place while you get those bolts out. And so once you get those removed, just keep track of those, set those to the side. Then I'm going to get a couple zip ties here so when I get this brake caliper off, I can get it up and out of the way and tied to the spring. As you take these brake pads out, make sure you note which side is which. These do have a left or inboard and outboard side. The inboard is going to be the one that's going to take the sensor, so make sure you know the difference between those two. Now, BMW used these stupid E16, E14 bolts to hold this caliper bracket on. They are a gigantic pain in the ass, and you have to have the special socket to get them. So invest in that socket so you don't just round these things off. And they're in there tight, so make sure you get a breaker bar and get these out of the way. But once you get those off and out, that's what they're going to look like, these star head bolts. Then you're going to take your Allen key or Allen wrench and go ahead and get this rotor out of the way. Luckily mine was not rusted on or too tight, and then once you get that off, that rotor should just come right off there. It may take a little bit of a nudging with a hammer if you need to, but then you're going to make sure you got the correct side as you put the rotors back in place. Mine were labeled left and right, they are directional. And so then you're just going to start back in with the reassembly. You're going to go ahead and put that the rotor back on. Then the caliper bracket's going to go in place. Lock that back down and torque appropriately. Get your brake pads in place. Again, remembering which was inboard and outboard. And then mine were not too far depressed, but this piston needs to be spun back in. So I have a special tool for that. You can use a set of pliers on the front if you have a big enough set of pliers, but on the rear you are going to need that specific tool because they're going to screw back in. Once you get the caliper back in, again, we're going to put these caliper bolts back in place. Make sure you use a wrench to get everything super tight. Then we're going to put the sensor back in place, and then this front is done once we get the wiring in place. From here, we are going to move to the rear of the vehicle. There we go, all good up front. So now let's go ahead and move to the rear, and it's pretty much the same process. You're going to take the caliper off. I'm going to go ahead and put the piston back in place. Again, this rear screws into place on these Minis, so that tool is going to be necessary. Same stupid star head bolts here on the back that are going to make your life miserable. These ones are, I believe, E14s, so once you get those broken, you can get everything off here. I got my ratchet stuck and then got this bolt off. I absolutely hate these things. Okay, so the passenger side went much faster when not trying to work around the camera and also having the right socket. You will never be able to convince me that that stupid E16-14 bolt on the back of this is not just a cash grab by the freaking engineers and BMW to try to make you bring this in so they can work on it. What a dumbass design that is. I hate that as much as I hate the Torx bits on these stupid Jeeps. So now I am currently filthy. So I'm gonna go wash up and then I'll take this for a test drive, make sure those are, everything's snugged up and right. These do not have a bed-in period on, well, let me take that back. They do not have a bed-in procedure. So the coating that's on those is gonna bed these brakes in, but they need about 300 miles before any really hard, aggressive braking. So that's why I'm putting them on now, why I'm waiting for the tires and everything to get in, because I need to get about 300 miles on those before you start doing any real aggressive braking. If you go up to blues, I think the blues are the ones you might need to break in the full race pads. But with these, you can just kind of let them bed in on their own. And then, like I said, in about 300 miles, they'll be ready for good aggressive braking. So we'll get that for a test drive. And then the next thing is gonna be getting the suspension taken care of. And then I'll throw that air box in at some point. But for now, let's see if we can get this out on the road and get a quick test drive with this, make sure everything's good. There we go. All right, so as I was dropping the Jeep off for exhaust today, I got a call that the wheels and tires for the Mini are in, and these things look better than I had anticipated. So let's take a peek at these. So those are the 1552s in a 17 by 8.5. Oh man, they just look so good, so good. We got to get them out of here, get them cleaned up, and then I'm gonna do ceramic coating on them. Because they're white and because the EBC yellows are known to just spit brake dust everywhere, I'm gonna put about 3 coats of ceramic coating on this, just so I can keep them clean and have it be a little less of a pain in the ass to wash them. I mean, they seem pretty easy to get into these nooks and grooves, but you know, if I could just hose them off, that would be preferable. So let's get these unloaded, get them ceramic coated, then get them on the Mini. All right, so there's the new wheels, and I think they look pretty good. The only problem I have now is that wheel gap. And so we got to do something with that, but I'm gonna have to hand that off to professionals. So let's go ahead and take this down to Icon and see if they can't get this thing sitting correctly for those new wheels. Good. All right, so as you can see, I've got the Mini loaded up on the trailer. I figured this would be easier since I don't have anybody to give me a ride. And it fits on there pretty well. I will say I was shocked it's a little bit wider in track than my my 68 Bronco is. I had to set the ramps a little bit further out than I do for that Bronco, so that was a little bit crazy. We've got all the parts in the back ready to go, get them installed, the drop springs and everything like that. And so I've been riding around with these wheels and tires for a little bit now, and I will say it is a marked improvement over the 18s. I'm glad I went with the 17s. Got a little bit extra sidewall give, and probably not having run flats also helps a ton, but I mean, it smoothed out the ride a noticeable amount. And so really happy I went with the 17s. The grip on these is fantastic. They're not worn in yet, but still the grip is just amazing. So let's get this down to Icon. Let's get the suspension put on it and get the alignment done, and then see how it handles after that. All right, so it is about 6:30 in the morning. I am heading out. I picked the Mini up from the shop a couple days ago. I have not had a good chance to get any good footage with this because it has just been rainy, miserable weather here. And so the shop did the brake lines, dropped it an inch. I'll throw some pictures up here to show you the difference in height. It dropped it about an inch all around. It looks great, looks fantastic at this new height, and the ride wasn't compromised at all, which is nice. Like, it's still as smooth as it was before we put the drop on it. The sway bar I haven't got a chance to test yet because, like I said, it's been rainy and miserable. But you know, that's the case of fall weather. So now we're heading to the Autocross event. So I'm lucky that I have one of these within a half hour of my house. But I looked online, and there were probably, if I was willing to drive up to 2 hours, there's probably 3 other clubs I could hit within 2 hours. So if you check online, there's probably one that's closer to you than you're gonna think. And you could be able to get, you know, go take your car out and rip it. So we're gonna get there. I'll walk you through the whole process. From what I understand, we're gonna be doing tech inspection. We're gonna have a driver's meeting. We're gonna do course walk, all that, and then we'll get cranking at about 9:30. So you're gonna get there maybe about 2 hours before any actual driving starts, but that'll give me time to get the car prepped, to make sure everything's safe, which is the number one priority, and then kind of get a feel for the track. So they released the track map, so I'll put that up on screen now. They released this yesterday, so they give you about a 1 day heads up to look at it. It looks like a faster track to me. It doesn't look like super slow corners. There's 2 maybe big sweepers. And then they also released our groups yesterday. That lets me know I'm going to be running in group 1 with the other novices. And so let's get there, let's get the car checked in and tech inspected, and let's get ready for a fun day. So as I'm pulling up here, I am one of the very first ones to arrive. The crew had been here since about 6 a.m. getting the course all laid out and set up. So I came rolling in, met here by this gentleman up front. They're going to have you, of course, sign your life away once you get here. He's going to present you with a waiver and give you your wristband to let everybody know that you are a driver. So again, quick waiver here, wristband, and then we're going to go ahead and head over to the check-in trailer where we're going to get our number, make sure our number is confirmed, get our assigned work group and our assigned run group for the day as well. So after you get checked in, you're going to go ahead and go wait for tech inspection. While you're doing that, you're going to want to strip everything out of your car that is not bolted down. Get the hood, trunk, doors open so they can see everything. I've got my helmet up there ready to go as well. I've got everything in a waterproof bag because it is a little rainy. Once tech inspection comes by, it's pretty low threat. I mean, if you've got a well-sorted car, this shouldn't be anything too difficult. Just making sure that your suspension's good, battery's tied down, nothing loose in the car, everything is good to go. Once he checks and makes sure everything is how it is supposed to be, or at least safe enough to be on the track, he's going to go ahead and give you a sticker on your windshield right there. Let everybody know you've been through tech inspection. You're going to need one of those on your helmet as well, which you can see right there. At some point, they're going to open the track up for a track walk. I would recommend doing this as many times as you can. And at least once by yourself, so you can kind of commit the track to memory as you're going along. But if you can do it with a few experienced drivers as well, that's helpful. They can kind of give you some guidance on the lines and what you should be looking for and how you should set yourself up from one corner to the next. But at least once by yourself so you can commit this to memory. After that, it is time for a quick driver's meeting to get all the formalities out of the way, and then it is time to drive. So we're going to get rock and rolling here, and I'm going to let you guys enjoy some of this footage. Not really much to talk through. I did have some people right seating me, but as far as this goes, I'm just going to sit back and you guys enjoy watching some of these runs. Run, or take a look, and that is, take a look All right, so that was my 4 runs, I think, for this morning. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and transition to working one of these corners. I think I'm on corner 4. And so the car's parked, you can see, I mean, the brake dust is brutal on these things. You're hard on these brakes, and the tires look like they're holding up pretty well. I mean, there's a little scuffing on the edges here, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. I ran, my last one was a 47, which is what I ran with some of the higher class guys when I was right seating them. So my fat ass probably cost them some time, but I tumbled down from a DNF 50 point something, got it down to a 47. So that's good. I shaved 3 seconds off my initial run. And so now we're gonna go work, and then as the afternoon comes and it gets dry out here, hopefully a little more time will trim off. But let's get out there, let's go where we're working, and get some first-hand view of this stuff. It's gonna be a little fun out there. So we had all kinds of cars out here today, from big, heavy American muscle cars to these just fully race-prepped Corvettes. This LS Vet here was amazing, sounded great. But Miatas are kind of the seem to dominate and carry so much speed through the corners. And one of the really cool things about sitting here is getting to watch everybody kind of take a little bit different line and figure out what's going to work best for you. So I kind of wish I had worked the morning session, the first session, so I could have seen this and then got a little bit more insight into how to run these corners. But after watching this, it's going to set me up for a better second half of the day. So really enjoyable stuff here as this Supra spins out of control. All right, so with that Supra spinning out, that's a red flag for the track. So everybody who was out on their run now gets a rerun at that. I was wondering how they'd handle that. And so yeah, everybody who was out, had already started a run, is now gonna get to retry that run. And now we're back launching now with this silver Cayman. So he was helping me earlier today. He seems to be driving the wheels off this thing. All right, so we have broken for lunch. My back is killing me from standing there. One of the things I'll need to remember going forward is bring some sort of stool or something for working that corner, because I mean, we had to shag cones a couple times, but other than that, it's a lot of standing there watching cars go by. And there were some guys that were ripping it, man. There were some really good run times in there and really pushing the limits of grip on those corners. But the track's starting to dry out, so I'm hopeful that in the afternoon, the times are gonna tumble down and we're gonna see some really fast cars out there. So lunch is, 45 minutes, and then we got to get back lined up on the grid for round 2. And so let me get some food in me, and then we'll get ready. We'll head back out. And that is Okay, so I have just buttoned up the full day of Autocross, and I gotta say it was amazing. Now, they're doing the award ceremony right now, but I've got to jet and go get ready for an event I have this evening. So let's see, we got there at about, I rolled in at about 7 this morning. They want you to arrive between 7 and 7:45 to check in, and it is now 3:51 p.m. And so that's a pretty full day. You're looking at, what was that bust out to, about 8 hours? Yeah, about a little over 8 hours of, you know, driving and working the corner and things like that. And so it's a full day, but man, was it a blast. I gotta be honest, I think this is probably the most fun you can have for as cheap as you can do this. So what is the total cost of today? Well, so the event itself cost me $65 because I am not a member of the local club. I had to buy it. Well, I didn't have to buy a helmet. I bought a helmet, but you could have got one of theirs for free. The helmet ran me right around $300. I'll put all the exact prices up on screen, but so I had to get a helmet. I ended up getting gloves. Again, you don't need gloves. And then prepping the car, I had the brakes, you know, the pads and rotors. I had the sway bar, the end links, the lowering springs, the stainless steel brake lines, the fluid, the wheels and tires, and that leads you to a grand total of whatever that adds up to. I'll put that on screen. But I'm gonna be real honest. You could come out here in your daily driver and do it for the $65 and have just as much fun, right? Like the barrier to entry to this event is so low and so much fun can be had for so cheap. I would highly recommend, if you are thinking about doing this, I would grab your daily driver, you know, make sure it's safe, make sure it's ready to go. They'll do a tech inspection, but you need to do your due diligence on that as well. But just come out and have a good time and try it. Like I said, one event, you're not gonna cook off a full set of tires, you're not gonna cook off a set of brakes, right? Like, it's gonna cost you a little bit of life in those things, but it's not gonna be so catastrophic that you're gonna have to replace those, right? So as long as you've got good tread and good brake life left, you should be able to get through an autocross day and then drive the thing to work tomorrow. So I hope you guys liked this video. I mean, it was a blast to make. I had a lot of fun driving. I had a lot of fun meeting these people. Everyone here was so nice. People offering to ride with me and give me pointers. People offering to take me for rides in theirs. There was one ride I had to turn down from a gentleman who had he had a Tesla, and he was beating the brakes off that thing. And it was after lunch, he offered to give me a ride, and I said, hey man, unless you want hot dog to end up all over the interior of your vehicle, I think I'm gonna have to wait until next time. And so he said the offer's always there, but that was kind of the vibe I got from everybody here. There was nobody that I talked to or met today that wasn't willing to take you for a ride or hop in the vehicle with you and kind of tell you what they thought you were doing, you know, that you could improve on. And then, you know, I got good pointers from everybody who hopped in and right seated me. I had 3 instructors hop in with me, 3 different instructors that, you know, that drive 3 very different cars. And you know, I had right seated along with a couple of front wheel drive cars. I hopped in a couple Hyundais, and then I hopped in a BRZ. Now I didn't get any footage of those, unfortunately, because you got to have a properly mounted camera. You can't just handhold the camera. But I learned something right seating with them every time I rode along too, right? The way they would enter a corner, the kind of speed they were capable of carrying that I thought would be improbable. You know, once you see somebody do it, you're like, okay, well, I'm not pushing near hard enough. Then if they can go that fast, then I can carry a lot more speed. And so, you know, like I said, and you don't have to be part of the autocross event to come out and right seat with some of these people. You'll need a helmet, but they have loaners here. And I mean, if you want to come out, show up to one of your local events, and just hop in and right seat with somebody, get a feel for it. Just take a peek. And I mean, like I said, I kind of fell in love with this. I'm going to do my track days still. I love track days, but I'm going to be doing this, I think, next season. I think I'm going to plan for a full season of this next year. With that, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I rambled here at the end. I'm coming down off the high of this track day. And so, again, I encourage you guys to get out there, find your local autocross club, see if you can get in for an event, and just have a good time. And I'll see you guys in the next video.